Okay, right. I should get Karis back in just a moment. If you missed the first half of our discussion, just go onto my story. It will be there for the next 24 hours. Otherwise, you can probably catch it on YouTube. The link is in my bio. And then I'm sure we're going to do another one because we still have to cover two more very big topics. Um, so, yeah, just catch up with us when you can. Wow, let me see how to get Keris back. Okay, I'm just waiting for Keris to request to join this live and then. Wow. So I do not know how to get her back. um, okay. Keris is back. There you go. Okay, it should connect us just now.
Hi.
Hey, okay, you're back. I think for the sake of time, we should probably just cover the savings strategies and then
Yeah.
we'll do flights because I think there's a lot to say about flights. And then activities is also a very big one. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think there's probably a bit more to say about. Yeah, we'll leave like booking flights and accommodation activities for like a different bit because I talked about like price comparison and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with flights there's so many stuff to say. I have a lot to say on that as well. I've had a lot of bad experiences.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't
Um,
experience it.
yeah. And I think there's a lot to do with as well how to keep comfortable on a flight, how to
Oh
keep entertained on a flight. I've taken lately to just sleeping right through the whole flight. To me, that's the best
oh,
strategy.
that was lucky for you. I'm still
Yeah.
not very good with sleeping on flights, but I'll talk about it in the video. I call it my comfort kit that I take
Yeah.
on to flights, and I'll go into more about like kind of what's on there. But the only thing I'll say about it is that I posted today about compression socks, something that people don't really know about, but really should because they can literally save your life, and they're something that go into my comfort kit. So if you want to know about compression socks and how they save your life, look at my recent post.
Yes, I did see what you said about the compression socks. I definitely I don't know what compression socks are. I'm gonna go Google what they are.
They're
Um,
basically long socks that mine come up in. You can get like full length ones or like thigh high ones. That they're really tight and they basically just kind of squeeze onto your legs and your feet. And they I get really heavy legs from when I fly. From all because of sitting down for so long and not moving, you end up with lots of fluid, lots of liquid in your legs, and these socks stop
yeah,
that, amongst other things.
yeah. No, I think definitely you must tell us all the tips in the next live. I think maybe we can do another one next Wednesday.
Yeah, that sounds
If
good.
you are for that. Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So on to saving strategies. What's the best way to go about? Do I put money in a jar? Um, or should I open a savings account at the bank?
Let me just
What's your
say hi
method
to
and how
Lucy,
long
someone
do
I know
I?
has just signed on. Hi, Lucy.
Hi,
Um,
Lucy.
in terms of like how I go about saving for my trip, um, I have a special savings account that I nicknamed my travel fund. It used to be my wedding fund, but then I thought rather than close the account, I now use it for savings for travel. So what I do is so every month when my husband gets paid, he has a standing order that goes from his bank account into the travel fund. So a standing order is slightly different to a direct debit. A direct debit is normally like what you'd make with like a company to pay something like, you know, your phone bill or your gas bill, things like that. But a standing order will go from like one of your accounts to another of your accounts, and you can set it up so that it'll go every month on a particular date. So he has his set up so it goes like the day after payday, and that will go straight into this account, and then I will put money in as and when. Because I'm a student, I have to wait until I get, like, you know, my student loan comes through and things like that. So mine goes in like different we that account we kind of like, we save all year round. Like we don't kind of stop saving once we've been on the trip. The only time that we may not kind of save is when we're on a trip, but we still have that money kind of going in, so that it's there, as we were talking about earlier, as the emergency backup fund for when things go horribly wrong. So I have that, and then I also
I must say, like, saving general takes discipline. It's good that even though you've gone on the trip, you still carry on the savings.
Oh, there's lots of other places I want to go to. So the travel saving is never ending for me. Even if there's a time where we need the money for something else, then we might like reduce down the amount that's going in, but there's still something going in every month just to kind of keep on top of that. And it's important to mention as well that if you are looking into opening a savings account for this purpose, that you make sure that it's one with that you can access whenever you want, because a lot of savings accounts might have like a better interest rate, so you will make more money back. But when you read the terms and conditions, they'll say something like, oh, but you can't actually, if you take the money out before this time, you will lose that interest. So if you've got a big trip planned and it's like over a year in advance, then go ahead, go for the one with the bigger interest rate that you can't touch, and that you can keep paying into. That's fine. But then when the trip comes around, you might want to change it to the kind where you can actually like go in and pick bits out as and when you need it.
So I just want to ask then, seeing as in your case, you've got a savings, you use the savings, or you save all year round basically. So now the savings isn't linked to the cost of your trip. How do you then decide, for someone else, let's say they're starting the savings account, do they then go and get an idea of how much their trip will cost, or do they just save, and when they have a certain amount of money, try and make the trip work in that budget?
I would kind of have a budget in mind when you're going on a trip as to what is the maximum amount that I want this trip to cost. I think this is especially important if, like, say you're going on a weekend, for example. You're going on like a weekend break. You get in your head, okay, I don't want to spend any more than this amount on flights and accommodation together, maybe. And then you've got like a kind of goal to aim towards. But if it's a trip where, like, like maybe you're going for a longer period of time, then the longer you go, the more likely you're going to have like additional expenses in case something goes wrong. So the more money you want to kind of save. But linked to what we're going to talk about next week about with the booking, the flights and the accommodation and everything, some companies will allow you to pay a deposit, and some companies need all the money up front. So then if it's a deposit, then you might not need to save as much initially just to, you know, get those flights locked down. But if you're going with an airline that needs all the money up front, then you kind of have to go with that. So part of part of that is working out when do the companies need the money by, because that will kind of dictate how much you need in that account at one time.
With that deposit system, that's mostly hotels. Because I must say, when I booked flights, I've never seen that they give options for payments always upfront.
It's rare. I've seen it only occasionally. That is, the deposit system is more likely if you were going to book a package holiday where flights and accommodation together in one package, which I've only done a package deal twice, when I went to Turkey and when I went to New York, and they normally have you pay like a certain amount deposit, and then you can pay the rest kind of in installments. Like our cruise for our honeymoon, you could book with a deposit and then you could pay the rest in installments as and when you like. Same as when I was meant to be going to Zambia to work, which has now been postponed. I paid the deposit initially and then I paid it off in chunks as and when I got student loans through. So if you don't have loads of savings, holidays with deposits can be really handy, because it just helps you get something booked before everything's sold out.
Yeah. I think that system of deposits and then installments with flights, that would make more people want to travel or think about travel, because I think for me personally, that's always me. I always look at the flight cost and then I'm like, okay, do I have this many? And then I'm like, yes, no, and that determines what destination I'm going to, whatever. So I think
I've got a few recommendations of websites for those people that they can look at then, if they prefer the kind of deposit installment method. So when I said I went to Turkey, that was with British Airways and they had a deposit system. When I went to New York, that was with Expedia. I didn't have a good experience with Expedia because it turned out that our flight had changed and was actually hours later, and they'd never told us. Which, if our flight had been hours earlier, we'd have missed it. So I didn't really rate them. And if you want a beach holiday, then the website onthebeach.co.uk is a pretty good one with deposits. I've used them before to go to Rhodes for a really cheap break. And I think icelolly.com is another one. They're like the kind of four that you really come across in the UK, and they all operate by a kind of like deposit, and then you pay the rest later on.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
Okay, Rachel was just logged in. Rachel was one of my bridesmaids at my wedding, and we've known each other since we were apprentices, like years and years ago.
Nice. So it's a close friend of yours.
Yeah.
No, I think that basically answers most of my questions. I think really with saving for any, I like the idea of you save all around. That's a lot better than just saving specifically for the trip. It's in general, it's a good habit to have, to save. And I think it also makes your life easier. I'm just thinking, like, I learned a very valuable lesson. I went to Thailand, and then I kind of planned the whole, like, I paid for most of the trip, but I think towards the end, I was like, you know what, I'll just take the money off my credit card. And that was a very bad choice, because if I'd paid it in cash, I probably wouldn't have had like any stress, because obviously with the credit card, they still charge you interest and all of that stuff. And I think as well, just look into just advice for anyone who's watching, just look into the whole installment system. It does it reduces the pressure on your like cash flow. Then you don't have to pay everything up front. But the more you can pay in cash, I think that's always the best way to go.
I mean, credit cards, I would say, still definitely have their place in travel. For the sheer reason that if you book accommodation and you pay on your credit card and the company goes bust, you can claim that money back through your credit card provider. But if you book accommodation or travel and you pay on your debit card and the company goes bust, you've lost that money. So
Yeah,
if we
there is that
can,
as well.
we would normally actually, I should have mentioned this earlier, we would normally book our flights, for example, with credit cards, and then we will go and pay that off straight away. Like, so we'll have saved up, then we'll book using the credit card, so we've got that extra layer of protection as well as the travel insurance, and then we'll pay that off straight away.
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. A much safer way of doing it, because we know people who have booked like flights and accommodation or holidays with paid for it by debit card, and then they've ended up losing like maybe £1,000, possibly more, because the company has gone under, taking all of their money with it, which is,
Yeah.
not
And I
what you
think
want
I
to
like
ram
the
your holiday.
I like the suggestion of paying for majority of the things upfront. Even when
Yeah,
it comes to activities, if there is an option to pay for that activity before you get there, I think that's always a better plan. Then you don't have so
yeah,
much stress with in terms of cash when you actually go on your holiday.
yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of trying to save as well, some good things that you can do is, I'm sure you've all heard of ISAs, but a lot of you might not know what they are. So an ISA is, you can save up to a certain amount of money tax free a year, and they normally come with pretty good interest rates. You can't touch it for a year,
Yeah.
but at the end of that year, so if say you've got a big trip coming up, but it's not this year, it's next year, you open an ISA and you put money in, then you'll get that interest, and it's just, whilst that money's just kind of sitting there, you can get some ISAs where you can keep paying in, monthly, and then you'll have all that extra interest at the end, or a savings bond where again you'll put some money into like this bond, and then you can't touch it for a certain length of time, but you get a much higher interest rate. So that's especially good again for if you've got a big trip coming up, but it's not in the immediate future. So that can just kind of help you save up. And as I've posted about before, like something that we do sometimes, like if we were going to have a takeaway and we decided to cook at home, the money that we would have spent on the takeaway, we can then say, oh, well, because I didn't spend that money, that can now go into my savings fund. And we just generally look for deals like in our everyday life. I'm quite frugal with my money. It's the way that I was brought up. I like shopping in places like Aldi because it's cheaper, or looking at like reduced counters in supermarkets, just to save some more money. And then
Yeah.
I find I have a lot more money left at the end of the month, and that money at the end of the month can then be put into my savings account,
Yeah.
ready to spend on travel. So I wouldn't say like I never splurge on anything.
I think
But
what you're mentioning kind of goes into the whole priorities and
yeah,
travel is something that you love, so you prioritized it.
yeah,
I think
I'd completely
like
agree. I prioritize travel, so all the time I'm looking for stuff for like, oh, if I save money here, then I've got more money to I could maybe go on this trip, or I could go there, or things like that. So it's about what you consider like more important in your life. So for me, traveling is probably like one of the top things in my life that I do spend money on.
yeah. No, I
But
think for me as
that's
well.
me.
And I think having traveled, I kind of came to the realization that if I want to do it, I will make it happen.
Exactly.
Which I
If
think
you
is a
want
thing
it
that a
hard
lot
enough,
of
you make it happen.
yeah. I think that's a lot of where people get intimidated or scared away is, they um, kind of it does take sacrifice.
Mm.
There is an element of you've got to sacrifice something in order to have the money to do something else. So yeah, that's just the
This is
Side
just
note.
it. Like, some people have, like, you know, flashy cars or the latest phone or things like that. Our cars are like, you know, oh, my husband's second hand. My phone was bought reconditioned off eBay, so someone's had it before me. So I prefer to save my money on things like that, because that money then goes towards traveling instead, which is just what I prefer to spend. I don't really go out ever on like big nights out clubbing. So the amount of money that I used to spend doing those things, which would be like £40 a night easily, I think to myself, well, £40. I've had return flights to Norway for less money than what I've spent on a night out on alcohol.
Yeah.
And
That's what you don't, or kind of what you don't know until you actually travel, that
yeah,
sometimes it's actually a lot cheaper to have the fun somewhere else than where
yeah,
you are.
the fun that will last for a weekend as opposed to the fun that will last for a few hours and then a horrific hangover the next day.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't
I
tolerate my hangovers anymore.
Yeah, I think as well, it also then kind of goes into like a whole different discussion of what are the benefits of travel. Like,
Oh,
I think having traveled, like, I'm kind of like, there's so many things you gain. Like, your mind just never goes back to being the same after the
no,
trip as it
yes.
was before the trip.
I think you get a better appreciation for other people's culture,
Yes.
how they live, things like, I'll give Mexico as an example. So, like in the UK, death is seen as a very, very somber, very setting thing. At funerals, you know, everybody's very miserable and things like that. Mexico, they have Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, and that is a celebration of life. It's still death, but it's a different way of looking at it. And
Yeah.
they turn it into like a big festival. There's a big parade through the streets of Mexico City, which we caught by complete accident. They have like altars out for their loved ones. They cook their favorite foods and they decorate with their favorite things, and it's got a very different feel to that. But that's like a cultural thing. That's just like everything they do with lots of, you know, energy and full of life and things like that.
Yeah.
Whilst the British are all supposed to be like, you know, stiff upper lip and we don't feel emotion and all that.
And that's something you wouldn't have known if you hadn't gone there.
No,
Yeah.
no, it can help you learn, you know, like new languages. You can make new friends. Like I've made friends all over the world from traveling that I still talk to on Facebook. I'm friends with some Americans and a Japanese person that I met in Mexico. I'm friends with my students that I taught in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Like people that I would have never met if I'd have
Yeah.
just, you know, stayed at home.
Definitely. Oh wow, Karis, thank you so very much. And we've got an appointment for next week to talk more about travel. I must say our chats are really mind-blowing. I actually find because
Thanks.
I think there's so much that I've learned from you, and I hope that other people have learned from you as well.
I'm from
And
you
yeah,
as well.
sorry.
I said I'm from yourself as well.
Yeah, no,
You
I think this is really good. And yeah, no, I can't wait to do it again next Wednesday. And yeah, I'll check out your live on Saturday. What time is it?
My live on Saturday is, let me.
Sorry, at what time you said?
6 o'clock British time. So you're an hour ahead, aren't you? So it'll make it
7 o'clock
7
for me.
o'clock. And I'll be on with Lost Love Adventure, who's a lovely girl that I met on here from India, who was actually traveling around India when coronavirus outbreak happened, and she's actually been quarantined in her hostel
Oh,
can't go
wow.
home at the moment. And I also, before that happened, I actually guest write for her on her website, lostloveadventure.com.
Mhm.
I've been spamming my stories about the article, the first article that's gone up, which is about my 72 hours spent in Reykjavik in Iceland. So if you've got any interest, in Iceland, visiting Iceland, I've basically detailed out in this blog post everything that I did. So yeah, and
Okay,
the
no, I'm definitely
one of the
checking
topics for Saturday is about travel when you're in country, how to get about.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's cool. I'm gonna check that out 7 o'clock Saturday.
Yay!
Okay.
Oh, something's gone a bit.
Yeah.
Yes. See you soon.
Cool. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Cool. It was great.